In today's episode, we are sharing all about our recent trip to London. So we've got 3 days in London with kids on points and miles, daring a heat wave. So listen in. Hi, I'm Rhea.
And I'm Dwayne.
And we are your hosts of the Travel Party of 5 podcast, where we share how we travel as a family of 5 around the world.
We will also share how we use points and miles to travel as affordably as possible and sometimes even completely free.
So if you're wanting to travel more with your family, but you're not sure how, we'd love for you to listen in.
So welcome to our podcast, where we hope you learn a thing or two to get you closer to your next trip. Welcome back.
Hello, friends.
It's been a while.
It has been some time.
Yeah. Much needed break.
It was a very nice break. Appreciate everyone who sent me Instagram messages kind of saying like, is the podcast coming back? Like, we miss you. That was really nice and validating, I'll say.
I mean, one person asked if you were okay, right?
Yeah, which I just thought was really kind. And I think maybe it was a little surprising to me that so many people reached out. So that also felt really nice because, the podcasting in general is a little bit like talking into a void, and there's no kind of instant feedback loop or anything like that. So
am I the void? Yes, we appreciate it.
Depends on the day. I think originally my plan was like a 4 to 6 week hiatus. I think it's been a little longer than that, maybe 8 or 9 weeks. I'm honestly not sure, but it was very nice actually to take a little break and to just go on some trips and not have to immediately think about making the content around it or anything like that.
Yeah, because it's not easy because we do the podcast in our bedroom.
Yeah.
One microphone.
Yeah.
I have to bring in a chair from the living room into the bedroom. Kids are usually here making a bunch of noise. We have to stop the podcast at least 4 or 5 times to tell them to be quiet.
Yes. Yeah.
And every time I go out there, I catch them eating snacks.
Oh, yeah. Sneaking something for sure. It's not an ideal setup. Dwayne's always like, we need a recording studio.
Yeah, I need my own mic. I want a reclining chair where I can just relax and,
I'm like, well, first the podcast would need to make some money. So that would be step 1. But anyways, we have some really fun trips to share over the next few episodes. Today, we're going to be sharing all about London, which was the beginning of our trip to Scotland. And so excited to get into the details there. We did have one other maybe update that Dwayne looked at me like I was crazy when I just said, we should talk about this. But I said, people really like to hear about your laundry escapades. And our washer broke in our house about 3-4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And
a washer we had for like 10 years at least.
It was a basic Whirlpool.
Top loading Whirlpool. Treated us great.
Yeah, it was great. No issues. And so it stopped working. So we called an appliance repair company that we've used before. And they came out and they basically were like, the cost to fix it was, I don't know, pretty expensive. And so likely it would just make sense to buy another one since it was so old. So we did. We bought one from Costco.
Yes. Bought one from Costco. I'm pretty loyal, so I stuck with Whirlpool. And it was a mistake. I got the washer delivered on a Saturday, did a couple loads of laundry, went to Costco that same Saturday and was like, what do I got to do to return this thing? And the lady's like, oh, are you in the 90-day window? I go, ma'am, I just got it today. She goes, yep, you qualify. So yes, it was a Whirlpool. It sucked.
It didn't agitate the clothes
Yeah.
properly. The water didn't fill up all the way, and it had like okay reviews, but and for those who don't know, or maybe you're new, if this is your first episode, we talk about laundry a lot because Dwayne does all the laundry in our household, both when we travel and also when we are at home. So I was completely out of this decision. I do not care about the washer that we get. Like, doesn't matter to me. You decide. So.
So, I mean, at this point, I can sell washers. And if you are in the market for one, reach out and I can help you with that. And we ended up getting the LG front loading LG 4080 HBA or something.
From Costco.
From Costco.
Also from Costco. But yes, at one point, between the time that we decided to return it and then actually returned it was about a week or so. And in that time, Dwayne spent all of his time doing research on washers and watching YouTube videos and all the things. And at one point he was like, I have never spent so much time researching anything in my life.
I'm not even joking. I can help you find a washer. I just need to know the dimensions of your laundry room. That's it. But I'm happy with the one we got.
Yeah.
And, they got great reviews. It's one of the best out there, so.
It got delivered yesterday, and we're going to have the cleanest clothes in all the land.
Yep.
So it's very exciting.
Yep.
Anyways, let's jump into our trip to London. So we've been back for a little over a month, and so I actually had to go back in my phone and look through to make sure that we didn't miss anything. So let me quickly recap the flight there first, because originally we were booked on Virgin Atlantic in economy, and we had 6 tickets because it was the 5 of us plus my mom. And then also accompanying us on this trip is my sister, but my sister lives in Orlando, Florida, and she flew separately. But my mom lives here in Phoenix, and so obviously we were all going to fly together. However, we flew out of LAX. We flew late at night. It was a cheap points flight, like 15,000 points a person. But I was incredibly unexcited about the flights. And I just wasn't able to find any business class, like anywhere. And I looked for months and months and months and months. And I really struggled. And then a few weeks before we left, all of a sudden, some flights popped up on Aer Lingus via American Airlines. And so I booked them. The only problem was they only had 3 seats. And let me tell you a mistake that I made when booking, because looking back, I should have known this, but it didn't occur to me at the time. So I was looking on the American Airlines website, searching for flights, and I saw that there were 2 different flights listed flying out of Dallas. And it was an American Airlines Aer Lingus, like, code share. They had a layover in Dublin and then on to London. And there were 3 seats on the first flight and 3 seats on the second flight, or so I thought. So I booked the first 3, and I happened to just book it for Dwayne and the boys. And our plan was we're going to fly 3 on one flight, 3 on the other flight, but we all leave out of Dallas and we arrive in London within like an hour of each other.
Sorry, have you mentioned that your mom and sister are going with us?
I just did, yeah. Okay. It shows how much Dwayne listens to me when I talk.
Yeah. Oh.
So I booked the first 3, and then when I went back to book the second 3, it was gone. And that was when I realized it was the same 3 seats, just showing 2 different layover options. So there really only ever were 3 seats. It was just either you could lay over in London for an hour or like 2 hours. I mean, in Dublin for 1 hour or 2 hours. But the business class seats from Dallas to Dublin there was only 3, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. So at that point, I was halfway there, right? I've got 3 of us booked in business class, and the flights were 57,500 points per person plus $5.60 in taxes and fees. Can't beat that. So now I don't really want to cancel those. So now I'm on a mission to try to just find 3 more somehow, some way. And I did. I found 3 flights out of Dallas, leaving 1 hour later, direct to London on British Airways. The only downside to British Airways is the taxes and fees are exorbitant. They were around $750 a person. But if you remember, I only had 3 people left to book for, and one of them was my mom, which meant she would pay for her own taxes and fees. And so I got her okay that she was fine paying that. And so I booked it. So for my daughter and I, we paid around, it was somewhere between $1,400 and $1,500 in taxes and fees. But the boys' flights were so cheap that, I mean, I felt good paying that for 5 people total in business class across the pond. So that is how we flew. To get from Phoenix to Dallas, we flew over the night before, flew on American Airlines. I used my miles to book my mom's ticket on British Airways, and then we used her AA miles to book our positioning flights from Phoenix to Dallas. So that worked out pretty nicely. It was roughly the same amount of miles. And the fun thing about that is I was booked separately from everyone else because she only had enough miles for 5 tickets. So I booked 5 on hers and then 1 on my account. And because I was booked separately, I actually got upgraded on that flight for the first time ever with my, at the time, Platinum Pro status. I have since hit Executive Platinum status. And for the people that keep asking me about an American Airlines status episode, yes, it is coming. Probably after we talk about London and Scotland, but I am going to do an episode because I have thoughts. So anyways, I got upgraded for the first time ever. I gave it to my mom.
She was so excited to get upgraded.
I was so excited. But I mean, I just, my mom's like almost 70 and I was like, this will just, it'll just be easier. But what I didn't consider is that the seat that had been mine was an aisle seat and a stranger got booked in that seat. And what ended up happening on the flight was our 3 kids ended up in a row across the aisle and like a row in front of us. And Dwayne and I were in the middle and the window of the row behind. So we did not have access to the children, and that was not the best move. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, you thought it would be okay for the
Yes.
kids to sit together, and I said it's probably not a good idea.
As a reminder, they're 12, 6, and 9, and they fly all the time.
Yeah. And I was right. I mean, we had to stop, or we had to ask the guy to move so we can go and talk to him a couple times, right? Or you did.
Well, yes, I got up and I moved and I made our oldest son come sit in my seat, and I sat there about halfway through the flight because they were being very loud. And then I learned later, after we had gotten off the plane, thank God, that the lady in front of them had turned around and asked my daughter, my 6-year-old, to be quiet because she was singing at the top of her lungs.
I don't even think you switched seats. We stayed in those seats the whole time, I think.
Nope. I sat first on the aisle with the little 2 in the middle, and then they were still just escalating their behavior. And so then I moved to the middle between the 2 of them. Yep. And our oldest came and sat with you. Don't you remember?
Kind of. Just the point of the story was I'm right, or I was right.
Oh,
so
I thought the point of the story was that our kids shouldn't.
Again,
okay, whatever.
I was right.
Fine. So anyway, so we get to Dallas. It's late. We stayed at the Grand Hyatt DFW, which is in the airport, except the airport is, at the time of our stay, was undergoing construction, and it was a little difficult to find the hotel. We had to go to a different terminal, and we had to take a shuttle, but it's not clear that that's what you need to do anywhere. So we did do that. We made it to the hotel, checked in, went to bed. We had 2 rooms booked. They did connect. And I booked them both with points and applied a guest of honor to the second room so that we could both have late checkout and free breakfast the next day, which worked out really well because our flights didn't leave until about 7 p.m. So we got late checkout, stayed in the room the whole day, then just walked over to the terminal, went in a couple of the lounges, and at one point...
2 lounges.
Yeah, Capital One and the flagship lounge. Capital One, I have guest access because I bought a lot of gold on my Venture X card when I was doing my gold experiment. So I unlocked guest access kind of what's the word? Unwittingly? No. It wasn't planned. I didn't intend to do that. It just happened. So with Dwayne's authorized user card, I did pay the $150 fee or whatever to unlock his guest access. So we were able to bring all 6 of us into the Capital One lounge, which was great. And then because we were booked on British Airways and the boys were booked on American Airlines, we all also had access to the flagship lounge because we were all booked in business class. So that was nice that even though we were on different flights, we got to go into the same lounge. And that was a nice lounge.
Yeah, I thought it was better than the first one.
Capital One?
Yeah.
Well, they had like a ramen bar and they had a lot of food options, but also I think the alcohol is better in the flagship lounge.
Yeah. There's more options.
Yeah, and it was very big and they greeted me with champagne when I walked in, which is, I love champagne, so always a win. Okay, so why don't you talk about the flight you guys took? Your flight was supposed to take off first.
Yes, we were supposed to take off first, me and the boys. It got delayed. And then got delayed again. So me and the boys went to our 3rd lounge of the day.
What lounge was it?
I don't even remember.
How did you...
It was what airline were we on?
American or Aer Lingus.
It was, I forget, but...
How did you know that you could go in there?
I just know. I mean, my wife taught me.
Oh, okay, yeah.
How to look for signs.
Okay.
But yeah, we ended up in the 3rd lounge. I had some whiskey while the boys had M&Ms or something. But then we took off. We were supposed to leave before you. We took off like, I don't know, an hour, 2 hours after you.
Yeah, I think it was about an hour, but I don't know because the Wi-Fi on our flight wasn't working, so I really don't know.
Yeah. And I didn't know at the time we were going to leave at one point I thought we were going to have to rebook the Hyatt again, but we didn't, thank God.
Well, and I had purposely done it so that you guys were supposed to leave before us in the event that something happened that I would be able to troubleshoot, but it didn't end up working out that way.
Yeah, but it was fine. We, business class to Dublin. Dublin, we kind of had a rush to catch our connecting flight.
Because you had been delayed.
Yeah. But we made it. At the gate at Dublin, there was a long line already formed when we got there. We're like, I forget what group we were in. I think we were group 2. And they were very unclear about what groups were boarding. So I was in line with a few other Americans, and they were like, what's going on? That's a lot of group 1s that were boarding. And they were like, oh no, we're boarding group 2. And we were like, what the F? A lot of people were like, what the F? So a bunch of us rushed the gate, and we finally got boarded. But it was kind of hectic, but we made it.
Well, you boarded from the tarmac too, right?
Yes.
I remember thinking and telling you that you might have to check your bag, but you didn't have to.
No.
Which is good.
No.
How was the flight? You were on American. It was an American Airlines metal. So lie flat seats. You said the food was bad.
Food was bad. Flight was great. Boys were, content with their iPads and shows. So I mean, everything went smoothly until we got to the gate in Dublin. But even then, it was, just a bit of confusion, but that was about it.
And then the flight from Dublin to London is what, like an hour?
Not even. Yeah. Short.
We flew on British Airways, and it was the older configuration. It's like kind of like the reverse herringbone, they called it. I don't remember the the type of plane. I'm not an av geek like that, but the way that the cabin is laid out is essentially it's 2-3-2, except the two on either side face each other. So if you're a solo traveler, that's kind of awkward. If you're traveling with like a partner or a spouse or whatever, or a friend, then obviously that's fine because you can look at them. And in the middle, it's three. And so I booked us in the middle because there was three of us. And so I thought, well, that's perfect. I put my daughter in the middle. So she faced backwards. My mom and I faced forwards. And I have a highlight on Instagram about our flight. And so if you want to see what it looks like, you can go see. But it's not a lot of privacy, especially if you're on the outside. And you do have to step out. Like if you're in the middle, you got to step over people.
It's British Airways, so it's privacy.
Privacy. There's not a lot of privacy. But this was my mom's first business class flight ever. And so she thought it was great. And then I thought, well, if she thinks this is great, she's going to love the Air France flights we have booked coming back, because those you have your own little like cabin or whatever with the door that closes. So the food on our flight was okay. Like I don't know. It wasn't great. I've definitely had better food on planes. And my daughter, I guess I forgot to order her kids' meals. I don't even remember. I think I was just so excited to get the business class that the kids' meal didn't cross my mind. But she didn't eat a single bite. And at one point, she was even kind of like, oh, my stomach hurts or whatever. So I was kind of worried about her a little bit, and I kept waking up to check on her. But she slept on the flight a little bit. I slept on the flight. I don't know if my mom did, but all in all, I think if you're traveling as a group or as a family, it's not a bad layout at all. I certainly would prefer that over flying economy all the way. It gets a lot of like, oh, you're going to fly in that layout of business class, but it was completely fine for our needs. So 0 issues there. And then our flight was direct. So we went straight to London. No issues there. Landed, went through customs, and took a taxi to our hotel, which was the Hyatt Regency London Churchill.
Which was a pretty expensive taxi, right? Which your mom paid for?
Yeah, my mom. I wanted to take the metro, but my mom has a bad knee and will pay for convenience. And so when she saw that my wheels were turning about how to take the metro because it was so much cheaper, but she knew we were going to have to walk a lot further, she said, I'll pay for the taxi. I'll pay for the taxi. So she did, and we did. And it was like around £100, which is over $100.
It was like $150.
It was a lot of money. And it was just the three of us because Dwayne and the boys didn't arrive for like maybe 1 or 2 hours more. And my daughter got sick in the taxi. So
I forgot about that.
Yeah. But I travel with puke bags that I steal from airplanes. And yes, I know you can buy them on Amazon, but I never think that far ahead. I just always have a few bags in my carry-on backpack. And so fortunately, she was like, my stomach hurts. I don't feel very good. And so I just get out the bag and she holds the bag, and sometimes she uses it, sometimes she doesn't, but this time she needed it. And so when we arrived at the Hyatt Regency London Churchill, I exited carrying a bag of vomit, and the bellman tried to greet me, and I just said, hello, I'm so sorry, but where is the restroom? Because I have to throw this away. Great first impressions. My sister was already there. So she had arrived earlier that morning. She flew economy from MCO to London. She arrived early. The room wasn't ready. And they do have a lounge at this property. And so they let her get access to the lounge. And they have a shower, which she said was clutch. So she was able to kind of change, take a shower, get freshened up, and start the day, because she arrived, I think, like 8 a.m. It was early. We didn't arrive until around lunchtime. Our rooms were not ready, so we went up to the lounge. The lounge here is quite nice. They have like drinks and snacks throughout the day, and they do set out like hors d'oeuvres and stuff in the evening, along with beer and wine. They do also have a form of breakfast, but we never went into the lounge for breakfast because the Globalist breakfast is also available in the restaurant downstairs. I booked 3 rooms at this property. So I booked it before the Hyatt devaluation, but it appears to be roughly the same price now because I just checked. We paid 35,000 points a night, I think. We were there for 3 nights. The first room I applied a suite upgrade award to so that we could fit 3 people. And then the second one was just a standard like twin bedroom. And then the third room was booked with my mom and my sister's points combined. And I gave them a guest of honor to apply to their reservation. So all 3 were, oh, and I gave a guest of honor to our second room as well, which was in Dwayne's name. So all 3 rooms had status benefits. None of them were connecting, but my mom and sister's room and Dwayne's like standard room were right next door to each other. So that was nice. And then the suite was like down the hall on the same floor, but on the other end of the building.
Which was a little small.
The suite?
Yeah.
I think it's all generally small in London. Now, I had emailed the property beforehand to confirm, number one, that all, 5 of us occupancy would be fine across those 2 rooms, but also to see if we could get connecting rooms. And they said that no, we could not get connecting rooms. They would do their best to put us close together. But they did say if we wanted to pay to upgrade to their 2-bedroom suite, then we would all be like, it would all be connecting. And that would have been around $800 more for the total time we were there. And so we decided not to do that. And I think it worked out just fine.
Yeah, it was totally fine.
Let's talk about the hotel and then we can talk about the stuff we did in London.
Hotel was nice.
Yep.
I thought breakfast was pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good. It's like a buffet with a lot of options. And then they also have made to order like small plates.
Yeah,
and
omelets and eggs and juice station. And we were there during the World Cup.
We were, yeah. So they had a viewing room set up for the World Cup.
But games were on late.
Yeah. The World Cup was going on the whole time. We were there both in London and Scotland. Yeah. So that was kind of cool. But
yeah, I mean, the hotel was great. It was just we were there during a freaking heat wave.
Ugh, it was so hot.
And there was no AC anywhere. They had AC most places.
In the hotel, they had AC.
Hotel, the mall. But like we went to a restaurant with no AC. Yeah. I was like, what the F is this? Like,
other than like the lodging or like a mall, there was no air conditioning anywhere. And it was very hot, like 95 plus.
We didn't even talk about this. Me and the boys, when we landed, we took the metro.
Oh, yeah.
So it was pretty easy. It shot you down. It was like the Elizabeth line or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we got off on the stop. But I mean, it was a good 15-minute walk from the station to the hotel. And it was hot.
Yeah.
And we were rolling luggage and it was busy. Like, it was London.
Yeah.
And we were in a busy part of town. So, I mean, we were weaving through people. I was like, get me in the AC now.
And then you get in the AC and it's never as cold as you want it to be. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, overall, the hotel was great, I thought. Staff was great.
Yep. Staff was great. I only really had two frustrations. One was the AC, which we'll talk about. The other one was, I always hear people talk at, like, again, this is a category 7 Hyatt, so it only goes up to category 8. So it's a fairly nice property, let's say, a little more on the luxury side. And as a side note, would be a great use of a category 1 through 7 free night certificate. But on our last day, we had to be at the airport very early, which means we were not going to be able to take advantage of the breakfast that day, which was, again, included for all of us. And I always hear people talk about how, the hotel packed us up like a to-go breakfast or whatever because we had to leave super early. I would like to know if that has ever happened to you anywhere, how you coordinated that, because I asked about it at check-in. They told me to ask about it the day before we left. I asked about it the day before we left. Then at first I kind of got passed around from the concierge to the front desk. And then they were like, oh, you have to go ask the restaurant. And by then I was like, I've asked 5 people and like, I don't have time to do this anymore. So I was like, I give up. But if someone could tell me how, what is the process? If the hotel has packed up a meal for you, what does that look like? That would be lovely to know for future reference. So that was a little bit frustrating. The other thing was just the air conditioning. The first day worked really well. It was cold in our room in the suite. The second day, which it was hotter outside, it was not so much. And at one point we were like, I don't think it's cooling at all. So we did call down several times, to housekeeping, and they sent someone up, and, they're like, it's going to be, you give it some time, it'll cool down. It doesn't cool down. And then you kind of repeat that process a few times. And finally the last guy goes, he goes, we got a new air conditioning system like a year ago, and it's a little too small for the whole property. So when it gets really hot like this, we also have to use the old system, and the old system doesn't work very good either. So basically, and our room was like kind of at the end of a hallway, and so we were getting like the last bits of the AC that wasn't being passed into other rooms, and so it wasn't that terrible, and it was fine. And they did send up like flowers and like some other things to apologize. Yeah, they sent a note. They sent like at one point I go, oh my God, these flowers are so beautiful. Look what they sent. And Dwayne goes, I'm pretty sure they just took those off a table in the lobby.
Yeah, they're exact same bouquet from the lobby. So they must have like extra, or they just took it off the table with like, hey, send this up to me, whatever.
Oh, they also gave us a full-size bottle of the shampoo, conditioner, and lotion that they use there, which was great because they charge you like $20 or $30 a piece for those things.
It's even more than that.
But we couldn't take them because we had carry-on only luggage, and they're big. So I had to leave those behind too. So I didn't get to take any of my spoils. Oh, well.
My AC worked the whole time. So that was good. Okay, so then our first night there, we went to dinner at what was it called? The Flying Goat or something?
The grazing goat?
Grazing Goat, Flying Goat.
And
the concierge was like, oh, that's a really good spot.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, pretty excited for this.
Directly next to the hotel. You can walk right over there. Yeah. It takes 2 minutes.
The Grazing Goat pub.
Yeah. Dwayne said it was just okay. I thought it was good. I think Dwayne
What did you get? Oh, you got fish and chips.
Yeah.
I got the freaking shepherd's pie with lamb.
Yeah.
Which I think, that's supposed to be their like signature besides the fish and chips. You know what I mean?
But you didn't like it very much?
It was okay. It was,
The burrata was very good.
Burrata was very good.
They gave us complimentary champagne.
Champagne was very good. I had a glass of beer as well.
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
Yeah.
The heat.
Yeah, it was just hot.
It was hot.
One tip about this hotel is that directly across the street is a park. It is a very well shaded park, and it's decent sized. And it says that it's a private park, but the hotel can unlock the gate for you. So if you have kids, we spent most evenings there letting the kids run around and play. And even in the heat, it's really well shaded, like a little area, and it's completely fenced in. So pro tip is that if you are staying at that hotel, you do have access to the park. You just have to ask one of the doormen or the bellman to open the gate for you.
Little playground. It's great for kids. Tennis court.
Yeah, they had little scooters kids could ride around on.
It was worth it.
It was good. The kids enjoyed it. Okay, so yes, dinner at the Grazing Goat. I would eat there again. It just was hot and it's not ideal. But there's nothing they can do about that.
Yeah. I mean, I'd eat there again. I wouldn't get the shepherd's pie, but...
We did a guided tour of London the next day. So we had 2 full days in London. We did a guided tour of London that I booked through Viator, and it was fine. It was good. The guide had little earpieces that everyone put in. I wouldn't say this one was geared towards kids, but, we got to go see, like, Buckingham Palace, and you got a good, like, history lesson.
I mean, we stood outside Buckingham Palace.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that was pretty much it.
Well, we saw, what was it, where we went in and we got to walk all around and saw all the different crypts?
It was like a church.
I know, but what was the
where
name of it?
Sir Isaac Newton was buried. Um, wasn't what's his name? Stephen Hawking there too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, beautiful church. All the churches in Europe are beautiful.
It's Westminster Abbey.
It's like one
It's
of
like the most famous
yeah.
places. And we're like, I don't know what was the name of it. It was Westminster Abbey. Yeah. We got to go in there. Um, I enjoyed the tour. It wasn't the best tour I've ever been on. So, but it also wasn't the worst.
Yeah, I mean, it was okay. It was just super
It was
busy.
just, and it was hot. It
Yeah, it
was
was
so
hot.
hot. So, I mean, unfortunately, that's the theme of the London portion of our trip. Fortunately, it does get better when we go to Scotland. And Scotland, as a side note, I'm so excited to talk about next week because it was phenomenal and far exceeded our expectations. So I guess that's a little unintentional teaser for you. Also in London, we had high tea. So the high tea that I reserved, I have regrets about. I would not do this one again.
Never again.
It was the Mad Hatter's afternoon tea. It is at the Sanderson Hotel in London. And I just want to set the stage that we have now done a guided tour of London all morning, right? Woke up early, had breakfast, and then we've been out in the heat all day. And then we go around like 2:00, I think. 2 or 3 was our reservation. And we realize that this tea is outside. Like there's no air conditioning at all, which never crossed my mind. And I guess it should have, but it didn't.
They offered us indoor seating.
Yes.
But there was no
air conditioning.
No AC in there.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and then I thought all morning I had been looking forward to like sitting in a cold room to drink my hot tea. So then I thought, how am I like, I don't want hot tea. And it's like, it's Alice in Wonderland themed and it is very cute. And I think if it were not 100 degrees, it would probably be more fun. But it all kind of went downhill from there. The service was great. No issues there whatsoever.
Service was great. That was about it.
The food wasn't good. The tea was fine.
I mean, honestly, I don't think I ate one thing or drank the tea.
The tea was fine. We all got iced tea. We had to ask for it iced because, obviously it's 100 degrees and very humid. And like you're sitting on these like chairs that have like, they're like really like feathery and fluffy. So it's like you're just sticking to it. It was
and they had like costumes and wigs and hats that the kids could put on.
Like Alice in Wonderland themed props.
Yeah.
So the kids thought that was really fun, but again, it was 100 degrees.
They didn't eat anything either.
Yeah, no one really ate a lot. I mean, there was like one scone that was kind of good. Everything else, like the sandwiches, everything was just a little bit off. I don't know. Someone reached out to me on Instagram and was like, oh no, like, because they saw where I was like, I would not recommend this. And they were like, shoot, we already have this booked. Like, do you think I should cancel it? It was like the only gluten-free option. And I think if you need gluten-free, then maybe it's a better option than nothing. But the other crappy thing is that this was so expensive.
So expensive.
Like, I was just frustrated the whole time knowing that we had to pay for this experience that I was not enjoying.
I mean, it was like, what, $200 a person or something?
It wasn't $200 a person, but total it was like over $500 for the 5 of us. That doesn't include my mom and my sister.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah, so unfortunately, would not recommend that. Even if the temperature had been fine, the food didn't taste good. So, and like that's the best part of the tea is all the little cucumber sandwiches and all the fun little things, and it just wasn't good. It was a bummer.
Yeah.
Couple other things we did was we went to the Tower of London and we had timed tickets. Something crazy happened to us there, which we'll talk about in a second. We did go to Borough Market. We had lunch there. We tried the viral chocolate strawberries, which were very good, I will say. And there really wasn't a long line for them. We were there midday on like a Wednesday.
Well, no, the line was long. They're efficient.
It went
they
quick.
Just, you know what I mean? They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And all while giving out samples. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So Borough Market was cool. We had dinner at.
Again, it was hot.
It was hot. Yeah. Just.
Like, we had to eat in like a greenhouse. And it was like, oh my God.
Yeah. We had dinner at something called Mercado Mayfair, which is again like kind of like a food market. It's indoors, but again,
it's like an old church too, which is pretty cool setting. Really cool setting, actually. They had a rooftop bar.
Yeah.
But again, no AC.
It was very hot.
And I hate to sound like a bougie American that's, AC derived, but I mean, it was bad.
It was just hard to
it was
enjoy
like
the
90
day.
something degrees with 70% humidity. So it was bad.
It was very hot. There was a day where it was over 100 degrees when we were there. The other frustrating part is that the food was very expensive overall in London, and none of it was fantastic. Like I will feel okay about spending a lot of money on a meal if it tastes really good. But none of the food that we had tasted really good, in my opinion. It was all just okay.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you.
I know.
The best meal we had.
I know. It was because there wasn't one. So those are all the things that we did. Let's talk about the Tower of London. So I did book the Tower of London direct with like the website. I didn't do anything through Viator or anything like that. And we had time tickets to arrive early in the morning. And I think that the way to do the Tower of London is to buy the tickets that we bought. And then when you go in, everyone lines up to do the Beefeater tour, which is free and included in your admission ticket. But what I would recommend first is to go to the Crown Jewels and do that first, because the line in the morning is pretty short. And then go wait in line for the next Beefeater tour. Because as we were on our tour, having already seen the Crown Jewels, the line to see the Crown Jewels was out the door. And again,
in the sun.
It's hot. Yeah. Now, we would have spent more time at the Tower of London had it not been so hot. We were there for a couple of hours, maybe from like 9 to 11:30 or something like that.
We still did a lot.
Yeah, we did a good amount. I felt like we saw a good amount of it. The Beefeater tours are fantastic because they really bring the history to life. And the only downside for us was that it was hot, but also the tour was huge.
Yeah, it's free, so everyone, does it. And our group had at least 80 people.
It was big. Yeah, so you need to try to get close enough so you can hear.
Because it's just one person.
It's one person talking without any kind of a microphone or anything. So, but she did really bring the history to life. And so I do think that I would prioritize like standing near her or him, whoever's doing the tour. Ours was a lady, and like trying to listen. She talks about like the history of like the moat around the tower, which was interesting, and all the bloody, gory stuff that happened in the Tower of London.
All the haunted places that are there, which I would have had fun doing if that would have been on the tour, you know what I mean?
I tell you what, though, we went into the church where they said like they discovered hundreds of bodies, and my ears like immediately became plugged up. And I was like, I don't know what's happening, but I can't hear. All my ears are plugged up. And that, like, we hadn't been on a plane for days. This was like, we'd already been there for 3 days. So it wasn't anything like that. And as soon as we left the church, it went away. So it probably is haunted. The spirits, they were trying to get in. And I said, no. The craziest thing, though, that happened to us at the Tower of London is that as we are walking up for our timed entrance tour or tickets,
which we were late to.
We were late. We were like 20 minutes late. And I was like, oh, come on, we're late.
I feel like we were even later than that.
It wasn't that much later, but I was trying to get to the Crown Jewels because I knew then there was a tour and I wanted to be in the front for the tour, and we were not in the front. Anyways, all of a sudden my 9-year-old is like, Mom, that's Miss, let's just call her Mrs. Smith. That's Miss Smith. That's Miss Smith. And I turn and I look, and sure enough, walking up with her kids and husband is my son's 3rd grade teacher that he had just finished her class like 2 weeks prior.
Yeah, and we had no idea that she was going to be there. She had no idea we were going to be there. Like, and when I say there, I mean London.
Yeah.
On vacation.
Yeah, because we had just had conferences a few months before, and we talked about our trip to Thailand, but we never talked about the summer at all. And so the first thing she said was, "Oh my God." She goes, "We didn't even talk about this trip."
So yeah, crazy small world.
So crazy.
Running into his teacher.
Yeah, and they were on their way to Scotland as well, just like a couple of days off from us. So that was so crazy. We took a picture together, and when we went, our kids are already back in school this year. And so now he's in 4th grade, and we went to see her at like back to school night. And she was like, "Oh my God, I was telling everyone about you, and that we saw you guys."
Well,
and,
yeah, his new teacher was like, "Oh, you're the one that she saw in London." We were like, "Yeah."
Yeah. Yeah. So that was just crazy. When things like that happen, to me, it like solidifies that like we're where we're supposed to be, you know?
Yep.
So crazy. And then that kind of wraps up our time in London. The next morning, we woke up and took a very early flight from London to Inverness. And so I think next week we'll pick up there. We'll land in Inverness. We'll pick up our rental car, and we will be off to the Isle of Skye.
Yes, but word of advice, recommendation, I would take the Airport Express train.
Oh, yes.
Because we had a little fiasco at the train station.
Yep. Our flight left very early, like departed at 7 a.m.
We had to leave the hotel at like what?
5.
Yeah.
Like 5. And we were going to take the metro. And then the train that we were supposed to take was canceled. But they don't really clearly communicate to you that it was canceled. And so then the guy, like we were trying to talk to the guy about how, like, what are our other options? Because if we take a taxi, we need to get 2 and blah, blah, blah.
And they're expensive.
They're expensive. And we're already, like, we've already gone to one train station, like from the one nearest to the hotel. So anyways, we ended up taking the Heathrow Express, which actually was not that expensive because kids are free. Kids under 15 are free.
Yes.
So we only had to pay for 4 adults, and that actually worked out very well and is probably what we should have done from the beginning.
Yes, that is what you should do.
Yes, that is what you should do. We were just not aware that kids were free. And the guy goes, I go, "Wait, all kids are free?" He goes, "Kids under 15 are free and always have been." And I thought, okay.
Sign us up. So yeah, I mean, we took that. Stopped at a few stops. I mean, it was like a 25-minute train ride, maybe.
Yeah, it was. And yeah, everyone was, we stood around debating for so long what to do, and everyone was getting a little snippy with each other.
I wasn't.
Lord.
I was like, let's just take this train. And we did.
And we did. And then we got to Inverness, and we drove to the Isle of Skye, and it was magical. And I cannot wait to tell you all about it because it was my favorite part of the trip, hands down.
Yes.
And so that'll be next week's episode. Sorry for the teaser.
Again.
The teaser again.
Yes.
Oh, yep. As always, thank you for listening.
Yes, we appreciate it.
We are happy to be back and sharing fun trips with you, and we will catch you on the next episode.
Have a good one.
Bye.